Abdul Karim Talgi. Do I actually have to do this episode?
You have to do this episode, Reena.
Okay, guys, I'm sorry, but because Krishna's going to nerd out, and we have to sit here and listen to it, yeah.
I'm absolutely going to nerd out this episode. Welcome to Tar Talks. And let me tell you, this is your host, Prasham, and I'm going to nerd out about this episode so much. Abdul Karim Talgi. I very recently, I don't know if you know about this, Reena. Okay, first, I'll start by asking you, do you know who Talgi is?
Yes, scam.
Being a Mumbaikar, I'm so glad you know who Talgi is. So, for the audience, because I know Reena, you have not read this book. For the audience, if any of you have read Sanjay Singh's Telgi, A Reporter's Diary, this is your episode. I so recently read that book, and the second I was done, I was like, this needs to be a podcast episode. So, Abdul Karim Telgi is such a complex figure when it comes to the financial crimes and the financial scams in India. And I'm so excited to be able to put this on Tar Talks. Abdul Karim Telgi, born on July 29, 1961, in Belgaum, Karnataka, was a notorious Indian counterfeiter, best known for orchestrating one of the largest financial scams in India, the stamp paper scam, which came to light in the early 2000s.
So, Abdul Karim Talgi was born into a middle-class family. His father worked for the Indian Railways but passed away when Talgi was still young, which significantly impacted his early life. After his father's death, Talgi had to take on the responsibility of supporting his family at a young age. So I think this is why he took this scam in.
No, because let me tell you, whenever we look at such scammers, whenever we look at people who made such huge decisions financially, you will realize how all of their stories always start from need.
Yeah, that is true. Like also Harshad Mehta.
Yeah.
He also started, I don't know if you know, but Harshad Mehta, he also started from a poor family and he worked his way up to $1 million or $1 billion person in the stock market.
Exactly.
He was the one who decided how the stock market flows.
And I want to tell all the listeners, if I'm going to nerd out about Telgi, we are going to have Reena nerd out about Harshad Mehta soon. So,
I won't know.
Please, Reena.
I'm not that kind of person.
All of us know you're nerd out hard, but it's okay. The thing with Telgi is, he worked and he paved his own path. To finance his education, he began selling fruits and vegetables at the Khanapur railway station alongside his two brothers. This early experience instilled in him a sense of entrepreneurship and resilience. You know, when you go through such difficulties in life, you know from a very young age you have to work for what you want. Life is not a golden platter for all, and Telgi is a very clear example of this.
So Telgi studied at, he earned a Bachelor of Commerce, DCom, from a college in Belgaum. In a search for better opportunities, he moved to Saudi Arabia after completing his studies, where he spent 7 years before returning to India. Upon his return, Telgi initially worked as a travel agent in Mumbai, residing in a guest house in Kolaba area.
Being a travel agent is where Telgi first realizes the basis for his scam. And this gets us to the stamp paper scam. The stamp paper scam, orchestrated by Abdul Karim Telgi, is one of the largest financial frauds in India's history, valued over at 30,000 crores, which is approximately $3.6 billion. This scam unfolded in multiple phases from 1992 until its exposure in 2003 and involved a complex network for the production and distribution of counterfeit stamp paper across several states.
Telgi began his criminal career by selling fake passports and facilitating illegal labor exports to Saudi Arabia through his company, Arabian Metro Travels. This venture involved creating fake documents to help laborers pass by immigration checks. His entry into the world of counterfeiting was solidified during his imprisonment, where he met Ram Ratan Soni, a stockbroker involved in share transfer fraud. The partnership introduced Telgi to a lucrative market of stamp paper scams. This also reminds me, we were seeing a series in the dorm called Farzi.
Oh,
Yes, so that was a scam of counterfeiting notes instead of stamp scams.
Yeah, when an artist, Farzi is so interesting, an artist basically manages to make Indian currency notes which look exactly like the real ones. But looking at what Telgi did, Telgi basically created fake documents which would help people who want to enter the Gulf market be able to do so. And all of us know, every time you go to the Gulf, you go to places like Saudi, you go to Dubai, you go to Oman, you will see so many Indians over there. And that is because as Indians, we really, really strive for a job market in such countries. All Indians, we want a better life, we want better earning, we want to see ourselves truly evolve. And of course, the Indian mentality tells us what's a better place than the Gulf. And that is why Telgi and people like Telgi who would, facilitate such, illegal labor exports really, really were able to survive in the market.
So, Telgi's operation involved acquiring old printing machines and plates used for creating official stamp papers. He washed, cancelled stamp papers with chemicals to make them appear new and printed counterfeit documents, which included various types of illegal stamps such as judicial court-free stamps, revenue stamps, and more.
So this is something which I found to be very interesting, which I read in the book. So the book told me how, the official government companies, that the official government organizations that would create these stamp papers would start discarding their machines. Once their machines get old, they discard their machines. What Telgi would do is Telgi had he had internal sources with people working in such places, and when these machines would get discarded, he knew where they were and he would go and pick them up from there.
The earliest signs of irregularities appeared in 1995 when banks and financial institutions reported missing in stamp paper scams, like the machines were missing, as Prisha mentioned.
Yeah.
However, these initial concerns did not prompt any significant action.
By the year 2000, rumors about counterfeit stamp papers circulating in the market had gained traction. Insiders from the government and banking sectors began voicing out suspicions about a large scale fraud happening. But finally, the breakthrough occurred on August 19, 2000, when two men were arrested in Cottonpet, Bangalore, while transporting counterfeit stamp papers. During their interrogation, they revealed connections to a larger scam involving Telgi, leading to further investigations.
Ooh, that's nice.
Exactly.
Following the initial arrest, law enforcement conducted raids across Bengaluru and other cities. These operations uncovered vast quantities counterfeit stamp papers worth over 9 crore, approximately 1.1 million, and the extensive nature of Telgi's operations.
Now, let me ask you something very interesting. This is something which, most sources won't mention, especially our formal podcasts really should not be mentioning. But how did Telgi really get attention?
No.
It was one evening in the late 1990s when Abdul Karim Telgi spent more than 80 lakh rupees, an amount enough to buy 20 kilograms of gold at that time, on a dancer in the Mumbai in a Mumbai dance bar. The police, the politicians, and the underworld immediately took notice. Who was this man? What was he doing? And how did he have so much money to spend on a Mumbai dancer?
So, firstly, as the scale of the fraud evident, a special investigation team (SIT) was formed to focus on this case. This team conducted thorough investigations, coordinated raids, and led them to seizure of incriminating evidence and further arrest of individuals involved in the scam. Recognizing the nationwide implications of the fraud, the case was handed over to the Central Bureau of Investigation,
Or the
CBI.
CBI, the real life equivalent of the CID.
So, the CBI's involvement brought additional resources and expertise to this investigation, allowing a more comprehensive approach across multiple states.
But after the arrest in November 2001, Telgi was interrogated extensively by both local police and CBI officials. During these sessions, he made several confessions that were pivotal in understanding the depth of his operations. He admitted to bribing various officials and detailed how he acquired printing machinery from the Nasik security press through corrupt means.
Telgi's confessions identified numerous accomplices within his network, including corrupt officials of the law enforcement and government agencies who facilitated his operations. As investigations progressed, several high ranking officials were implicated and arrested for their involvement and collaboration with Telgi's operations. This included police officers who provided protection and facilitated his activities.
I believe this is one of the reasons why the Telgi scam is so big. Because when we actually go into the depths of it, we realize how so many people beyond the underworld are also involved. Politicians, so many different Maharashtra politicians, so many different high-level ranking police officials. Everyone is involved in this. And this is what makes the Telgi
They
scam.
also do it because of their need, like how Telgi did the stamp scam. because of
Exactly.
his need.
But this really makes us see how deep and rooted is corruption in the Indian industry. And the CBI filed multiple charges against Telgi and his associates under various counterfeiting, cheating, and conspiracy sections. Over time, numerous individuals connected to the scam were prosecuted.
Abdul Karim Telgi, despite facing serious health issues, including being HIV positive, was sentenced 30 years in prison for his involvement in the stamp paper scam. Additionally, he was fined a total of rupees 202 crore, approximately 27 million, across various cases related to the scam.
But let me tell you, for a scam worth 30,000 crores, which is around 3 billion US dollars, 202 crores feels like
Nothing.
nothing compared to what he managed to build.
It's like Ambani just on a one casual day just walking.
Exactly. It's like Ambani on one casual wedding.
So the scam exposed significant corruption within the government agencies and law enforcement, as we talked about. And the main question is, as Prashad told, how deep is corruption in India?
Exactly. And what cultural impact does this truly have? The involvement of officials from the Indian security press and various state governments in facilitating Telgi's operations shattered the public confidence in the integrity of institutions that were supposed to protect each citizen's interests. Many people felt betrayed by a system that was intended to uphold justice and legality.
In response to the scandal, there were widespread calls from reforms regarding the issuance and monitoring of the stamp papers. The government initiated changes aimed at enhancing transparency and preventing similar scams in the future. These reforms including a reduced reliance on public stamp papers, with many states being implemented electronic stamping techniques. Additionally, new security measures were introduced for genuine stamp papers to make counterfeiting more difficult.
The stamp paper case not only exposed the depths of Telgi's extensive criminal network, but also highlighted the urgent need for robust regulatory frameworks, ethical governance, and public accountability. As India continues to evolve economically and socially, the lessons drawn from this scandal are more relevant than ever now. The reflections from this incident serve as a call to action for greater vigilance and stronger protections in our governance practices. His legacy continues to influence discussions about corruptions and reform in India's financial systems.
To make it more suspenseful, please watch the movie, as Trisha mentioned.
Or if you're nerd enough, read the book. Sanjay Singh's A Reporter's Diary, read that book.
Okay. 1 hour, or I don't know how many hours did you take to.
One night. One night is all it takes to get
Exactly,
good.
12 hours or 1 hour. Now you all decide.
So, that was Telgi on Tahar Talks. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope I did not nerd out much.